Welcome back to the RAD BMX Builds podcast / YouTube channel. I appreciate that you're here, so make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button. I don't know if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform or watching me right here on YouTube, but I'd appreciate you sticking around, so make sure you give us a follow or subscribe. Okay, I'm Sean, the owner of RAD BMX Builds, and in this episode, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to fill you in. I'm going to peel back the onion. I'm going to pull back the curtain, whatever you want to say. This is behind the scenes at RAD BMX Builds. What does it take to get RAD BMX Builds where it is, where it's going? How does it work? What's the logistics behind having a YouTube channel, a podcast channel, a TikTok? What else do I have? Instagram, all these other social media platforms. You may be wanting to launch your own. You may just be curious how I do all of this. Keep it going and keep it building. So let's get into it. Welcome. Here's the first part. I think the first part's pretty easy. That's why. Why did I even bother, right? Well, I didn't have a choice. I just had a regular Instagram page, and I decided just before retirement that I wanted to build a BMX bike. I thought it would be fun. And I did, and I posted it on my Instagram page. And back then, hashtags were a big thing. And keynote that, they don't matter anymore. But I was using hashtags like BMX or old school BMX or whatever it was. And somebody found my page through that and wanted to buy my bike. Long story short, they bought that bike and another bike, and now I needed to buy and build more bikes. And I found enjoyment in that. So fast forward a bit, post-retirement, I thought this would be a good way to fill my time. This would be a good way to get my mind on something different than my previous career. And it would be a healthy outlet, if you would. So I built bikes to keep myself busy. And boy, did it get busy. Okay, I was also traveling a lot once I retired. We bought a big diesel pusher motorhome. We're driving across the United States, but I was still buying BMX parts, having them sent to my mom's house, and she was putting them in my storage unit. And I hadn't been back in about a year. And when I got back, in my mind, I had about 5 bike builds lined up. So I head over to the storage unit, roll open the door, and there is a pile on the floor, 4 feet high, 5 feet wide, of boxes and bags of BMX parts. And I started to dive right in and building bikes. And it really brought me a lot of enjoyment. It filled up a lot of that downtime. It kept my mind moving in a positive direction, and I just found pure enjoyment. And I was photographing everything and just throwing it up on my Instagram page. And it started to get a lot of engagement. People were commenting, people were liking it, and so I just kept doing it. I didn't care either way. I wasn't monetized. I wasn't any of that. I was just a regular page called like Sean's Adventures or whatever it was at the time. My pages changed names a couple times before I landed on RAD BMX Builds. It's all part of the process. So once I started doing that, my wife asked, "What are you doing?" And I really kind of thought about that. I said, I'm just kind of building bikes, but why am I building them at that frequency? I didn't know yet. It hadn't hit me. And she said, "Looks like you have a business. Why don't you go get an LLC? Why don't you go get a business bank account, a business debit card, everything, and make it a legit business?" I thought about that. There's a lot that goes into a business. You may be a business owner, you may not. But there's tax breaks that go with that. But to back up a bit, there's a lot more to a business other than getting an LLC and getting a tax break on certain things. First off, I needed a name, a permanent name. You don't want to keep changing your business name. So land on something that you're solid on. And then a logo. Think about how important logos are. The Nike swoosh doesn't even need to say Nike, but you recognize that logo. Apple. Doesn't have to say Apple, but you recognize that logo. So logos are important. My wife went to college to be a graphic designer. I asked her, "Will you help me with the logo?" Her answer was no. So I went to Fiverr at the time. I provided what I wanted. I used the Maui and Sons surf logo as inspiration. The grid from Tron as inspiration. The colors that I like, that blue is kind of a Maui blue and I don't know what you want, a magenta pink. And I just kind of gave the guy free rein. And there was a couple iterations, and we finally landed on my RAD BMX and then the neon builds with the triangle and the grid inside the letters. And I was really happy with that. So from that point on, I had a name, I had a logo. I went and got my LLC in Bernie, Texas. And now I went and got a bank account through a credit union. And now I'm a business. That's weird, but it happened just like that. Whoop-de-doo, I have a business, but does it generate any money? Well, I never said I was going to get rich doing this. This was supposed to just be a hobby to begin with, and it's a little complicated, and that's what we're going to talk about. And it's still a hobby to me. The day it feels like a job, I quit. I've fired myself a few times, but the next morning I rehire myself. I've had opportunities to expand and hire people and have declined to do that. I like being the only one because I can shut it off when I want and turn it back on. If I have employees, I can't do that. Now it's a real job, and now I'm just stuck doing it. I'm supposed to be retired, remember? So I want it to generate income. I want it to grow. But how much can I let it grow before I have to expand and bring on employees? I feel like I'm right about there. And how did I get here? It's a little more complicated, but that's what I want to break down in this episode. How did I get to where I'm at right now? And where do I go from here? Okay, I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram. I start posting photos, and Instagram is the platform that blew up for me. Instagram is a pain in my ass. It really discourages me. I really can't stand it for many, many reasons, but it is what got me where I'm at now. It is a great platform to reach out to like-minded people if you're wanting to promote something. But the platform itself under Meta is just horrific. There are people on there that imitate you, that steal your logo, that try to sell your bikes even though they don't have them, and followers fall for it all of the time. So people get ripped off on there. People are buying bikes from people that never had them on there. People steal your content on there, and it's just discouraging because the platform won't do anything about it. I've reported them, I've blocked them, doesn't matter. They create ghost accounts, come on, steal your content, put it on their fake RAD BMX builds accounts and try to sell the bikes. It's never ending. So at this point, I don't know how many times I got to warn people, do not buy bikes from anyone on social media. It still happens every day, all day. And these people make way more money than I do on my content because they're selling literally everything that I take photos of, even though that person buying it never receives it. So I noticed early on that my Instagram page started to grow. I did have a reel go kind of viral while I was on vacation in Mexico. I started getting all these notifications and I looked at my account and I had a reel that I filmed in Huntington Beach of Eddie Fiola that was at like 3 million views. And for me, that was huge. And for many years, that was my biggest, most viewed reel. And it brought me a lot of followers. And my account grew by tens of thousands of followers from that one reel. And it made me, made my platform big enough to monetize it, which I did. And I made a little bit of money off it. And I thought, wow, this is kind of fun. I'm making a little bit of money. Instagram a few years back would pay you if you're a monetized account for content such as reels. And they were pretty generous with it. I was making decent money. And for whatever reason, they just stopped. And they stopped paying everybody for reels. And a lot of people were pretty upset with that. Me, I have a retirement. It wasn't going to make me lose my house. And it wasn't making enough for it to really make me angry. It's just kind of frustrating that you're getting paid, now, whoop, you're not, but you're still giving them the content. So they get everything, you get nothing, but your followers still get to enjoy it. They don't know that the payments are happening on the back end or not. Okay, I was on vacation in Utah and I went up and saw a YouTuber there, and Summit Auto Labs. They are a car channel, and the Strad man, James, was there. I talked to him, and they have pretty big YouTube channels. James has a massive YouTube channel with like 4 million subscribers. And they were like, hey, Sean, you have a pretty good following on Instagram. Have you ever thought about doing YouTube? And I thought, no, I never thought about that. I don't know the first thing about it. And not that they took me under their wing by any means, but they gave me a little bit of advice. And I took that advice and thought long and hard, should I do a YouTube channel? I knew nothing about YouTube other than watching it like everyone else. I didn't know how to set up a content creative channel, a studio, as you will. And I didn't know how to make videos, edit them, and upload them. But my wife also took film in school, and she said, I'll help you with your editing. And she did. So my first video was so cringy and so hard to watch, but it did pretty well. And then I made crappy video after crappy video after crappy video, and they did start to get a little bit better. As I watched myself, which is the hardest thing to do as a content creator, I started to learn what I sucked at and what I was okay at. So less of the suck and more of the okay made for a little bit better of a video. Have a story, have good lighting, have good audio. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't have those things, but when you can, maximize them and try to bring people something they're ready to watch and hopefully continue to watch to the end. So YouTube started to grow, and my wife was over it. She didn't want to edit anymore, so she said, edit your own videos. I was terrified. I don't know how to do this stuff. I just had to learn. So I opened up iMovie. She kind of showed me how to move things in and out of folders, plop them into iMovie, and have at it. And that's about all the training I got. So I recommend maybe you do some how-to videos on YouTube on how to use iMovie or whatever editing platform you want to use. But if you're starting off, iMovie's pretty easy. So I did that, and I know that people have a short attention span. You watching right now, if you haven't clicked off already, I applaud you, but you probably have a short attention span and you need action. You want to know how to keep people watching your show. So I thought, explosions, monkeys with cymbals, whatever I can do to keep you watching and laughing is what I was trying to put into my editing. I put together my first video and put it out there. One of the first comments was, I love the editing of this video. I couldn't believe it. I ran to my wife and said, look at this comment. They love my editing on the first video I've ever edited. And she says, good, because I'm never editing your crap again. It's completely on you. And it's been that way now for about 3 years. Okay, I truly love YouTube. I mean, I'm not going to get rich on YouTube. If I did, great. But that's not my goal here. My goal is to make content, share content for other people to watch it. Maybe they'll learn something. Maybe they'll avoid being scammed. Maybe they'll get motivated to build a bike. All of those things have already happened. And I know that because I read the comments, I've gotten the feedback in person, and it's provided me an opportunity to meet some of my childhood BMX heroes, attend shows, go to places, and be able to afford to buy cameras or plane tickets and things like that. So it's really given me opportunity, which has been the greatest form of payment. So if you want to do a YouTube channel, here's my advice. My advice would be to be outgoing. Don't be afraid to go up to somebody like Eddie Fiola, shake his hand, introduce yourself. Say, hi, I'm Sean. I have a business called RAD BMX Builds. I have a small YouTube channel. I would love the opportunity to interview you. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Do those things and you'd be surprised. You get more yeses than nos, and that will help your channel grow. It'll be good, engaging content. When you go to conduct an interview with somebody, have kind of like a set out path that you want to take them on in questions, but let them tell stories in between. Let them talk. That's what people want to hear. Don't have it too structured, but kind of stay online. Like, how did you start out? What competitions were your favorite? Do you still have any of your bikes? Whatever questions you have, make sure you ask them. But if they want to go off and tell a story about Like if you asked about that bike, then they want to tell you how they won King of the Skate Park on that bike, but then they sold it and they did this. Let that story blossom. So be a good listener and a good interviewer. Make sure that you're trying to film in a well-lit, quiet area with good audio, because that'll be really important for the person watching your video to be able to connect to it. If it's full of distractions, it's going to make it harder for that person watching to follow along. I know sometimes you might be at a show and you're just going to have background noise. There might be a jet or a helicopter or a car or a siren or a dog barking. That's reality. You always can't have a perfect scenario, but strive for it. Try to get that. Try to move to a place that's better. I've had to film in a car. I've had to film in a library. Haven't always had the best audio or lighting. You just got to take what you can sometimes, but always keep it in the back of your mind. If you can use a tripod instead of holding the camera, it's going to be better. Always try to make it better, and then when you can't, try to make it the best that you can. And this comes straight from YouTube. Engage with your subscribers. Read the comments, reply to them, pin the good comments so they're at the top. This is called engagement, and YouTube wants you to be doing that. Reward the subscribers by replying in the comments section. It's crucial. If you're not doing that and you don't reply to anybody in the comment sections ever, those people will think you're not connected to them and stop watching your videos. So when I release a video, I watch the comments like a hawk at first, and it'll slowly trickle off over a couple days. And then a new video will come on, and then another video will be uploaded after that, so on and so forth. So I won't watch the comments from 2-3 videos ago as much. I'm more engaging for about a week per video, and then as videos get uploaded, those start to fall off. But it's crucial that in the first day that you are very active in your comment section. Also, try to weed out the negativity and the political and all the other comments that are in there, the grandstanders that are using your platform to self-promote. You can hide those comments so nobody else sees them. Those aren't your real true followers or subscribers anyway, so don't reward them with replies. And that's something I had to learn the hard way. You know, I almost spent 30 years in the military. I have thick skin, but I love to engage. When someone leaves a negative comment or tries to talk trash in the comment section, it takes every ounce of my body to not jump in there and stick my foot in them. So I've learned the hard way, because when you do that, which I'm more than happy to do, you get strikes against you, and that costs you traction through the algorithm. It could cost you money, and then they win if you do that. So I learned the hard way to not engage in the comment section to anybody leaving negative or derogatory comments. Now you just block them, you remove their comment, you hide their comment, whatever tool you want to use, it's up to you. Just do not give them the 2 seconds of fame by responding to their comments. I no longer do that. Someone writes a crap comment, it just disappears. I don't leave it on there. I don't need other people to read it. I'm not going to give them that moment to get on your platform that you work so hard to build and try to tear it down. It just goes away. It doesn't mean anything to me. I think it's funny that there are people that never met you, know nothing about you, don't just get on a platform and randomly have nothing better to do than leave a negative comment. It's pathetically sad. So to me, it's funny that there are people out there, grown men, that still do childish things like that. Okay, the behind the scenes part. Yes, I make videos, I make podcasts, I make Instagram reels and posts and TikTok videos. So every single day I'm working. I work 7 days a week, almost all day long. Sporadically, I choose the time, I choose the locations, I choose what shows I go to. So I have a lot of freedom, which is nice. But the reality is I'm flying to the BMX Hall of Fame. My plane tickets were $800 because I'm flying from the middle of New Hampshire at a regional airport to a real airport to another real airport to get there and back, plus hotel room, plus food, plus transportation. It's not cheap. And you don't see that part of it. You just get a video that Sean went to the BMX Hall of Fame, and that's cool. I need you to just understand that there's a lot of time, effort, and money that go into making the videos, the cameras, the lighting, the location, the hard drives, everything, the microphones, you name it, it all costs money. Buying an old school bike to restore it and sell it takes money. You're never going to get rich flipping bikes. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm going to make another video on how I actually make money. And if you want to watch that, make sure you subscribe or follow, because I'm going to be putting that video out very soon. Because a lot of people are curious, how much money can you make doing what you're doing? Do you make enough money to live off of? These are pretty good questions. And I'll get into that in another video, but the purposes of this video is to let you know the behind the scenes part. So I'm having to network, coordinate. So Craig and I are meeting up at the BMX Hall of Fame, flying in, getting hotel rooms, setting up interviews that are coming for a documentary that I'm working on, getting those people and space. So Gork at the BMX Museum at the BMX Hall of Fame is going to give us space to conduct interviews. All these things need to be worked out a month in advance at least to make some of these things happen. They don't just happen. So in order to do multiple videos a week, like I said, it's a full-time job. Editing is not a snap of the fingers. Sometimes editing takes longer than the videos themselves. So there are a lot of hours that go into a single video that takes 15 minutes for you to watch, which you probably don't even watch the whole video. So why do I even do it? It's kind of crazy. It's kind of self-torture in a way. The real reason is because I want to bring you that content. I love to watch videos of things that I can't do myself, places I can't go, people I can't meet. Those videos are exciting to me because I live vicariously through the lens of somebody that gets to do those things or go to those places or meet those people. So I hope in the background somewhere in my mind that I'm doing that for you, and the reward would be a subscription that's free to the channel, or a follow, which is free on any of your social media or podcast platforms or channels, whatever it is you're finding this on. That's my reward. So thank you so much for that. All right, lastly, it's as simple as this. I do it for you. That's it. I can still be doing what I'm doing and not record and photograph everything and still build bikes. But I do it because I want to find a bike in rough condition. I want to build that bike and I want to sell that bike. And now somebody's enjoying a bike that was a rusty frame sitting in a corner that probably would have ended up in a trash can. So I'm taking something that probably would have never been and now creating something and giving it to somebody else that can now enjoy it, or it inspires that nostalgic memory that they have. And I love capturing that story on film. That's the reward for me. So that's it. That's why I do it. And you watching is that reward. So thank you again. I appreciate every single one of you for listening to the podcast, for watching the YouTube video, and for rewarding me with that button down below. Thanks again. You guys are awesome. And as always, stay rad.